Deputies, are you all ready? Hello?
Yeah, we are ready. Okay.
You said yes, you are ready?
Yeah, we from juvenile squad room. I'm ready, sir.
Okay. As soon as they are all ready, I can go ahead and if you want to go ahead and do Mr. Miller while I'm waiting on the rest of the inmates, you can bring him on. We can do him
Okay.
first.
You want me to turn on the camera?
Yes, please.
All right.
All right. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
My name is Judge Marcus Thorpe. I'm one of the associate magistrate judges here in Clayton County, and this is your first appearance this morning, Mr. Miller. We are here because this is where I am to advise you live here on YouTube today on November 28th of 2024, what you've been charged with by the police. These aren't necessarily the official charges that will go forward against you, but I need to advise you of what you've been charged with, your rights, set bond, and schedule a preliminary hearing for you. Now, because of the charges that you are charged with, Mr. Miller, I need to advise you first that you do have the a presumption of innocence. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to an indictment by grand jury or by felon or by accusation for misdemeanors, to a speedy and public trial, to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your own behalf, to see, hear, and question those witnesses, and to testify at your own your behalf if you'd like to. And I also have the opportunity to appoint you an attorney if you cannot afford one. Now, there are three ways, sir, in addition to advising you what you've been charged with, we're going to go over your bond today. If and when you get a bond, sir, you can either make bond by paying it in cash, by getting a bonding company, or by, if you know someone who has property, that you can then, they must have a deed to that property and have three times the amount of that bond in order for you to get out that way. So, for example, if I tell you your bond today is $6,000, you would need to pay 6,000 to the sheriff plus any fees to get out. If I tell you it's 6,000 and you don't have 6,000, then you can use a bonding company, in which case you're only responsible for up to 15%. And that means it would be about $750 total to get out. In addition to the ways that you can get out on bond, Mr. Miller, I will tell you whether or not you have any special conditions which require you to stay away from certain people or certain places. If and when you are released, Mr. Miller, please abide by any conditions I give you today because that will be additional felony charges that you could face, as well as up to 20 years in prison or $20,000 in fines for aggravated stalking or the influence of a witness. So, Mr. Miller, with that, if I could, please have you raise your right hand.
One
Do
second.
you, yes, sir. Do you swear from the testimony you're about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yeah.
All right, so Mr. Miller, as I'm sure you already are aware, sir, you were charged here with three counts of felonies, armed robbery, home invasion, as well as aggravated assault. Sir, because of those particular charges, I am not by law legally permitted to give you bond this morning. So you are going to stand on a no bond status as of this morning. So you're going to have two upcoming court dates as a result of being on a no bond today, sir. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date, and that's where they can reconsider your bond, as well as they will present your evidence, the evidence against you, the police will, to a judge, and the judge can reconsider bond, but also whether there is enough evidence to go forward in your case. In addition to that date, that's going to be on December 31st, so right before New Year's. Then your bond hearing date, also a second opportunity for them to consider bond, will be 10 days after that on January 10th of 2025. So again, Mr. Miller, you're on a no bond status here today. Your next court date is going to be the 31st of December, 2024. That's going to be at 8:30 a.m. and that's going to be via Zoom like you are today. And then your bond hearing date will be January 10th, 2025, also at 8:30 a.m. And that will also be via Zoom. Now, sir, based on the information that you wrote for us this morning, I am going to appoint you a court-appointed attorney this morning, sir. So you will have an attorney free of charge. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
All right, sir. Do you have any questions of me?
No.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Thank you, Deputy.
Thank you, Judge.
Yes, sir. All right, Deputy, I'm ready. All right, ladies and gentlemen, can you all hear me? Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Judge Marcus Thorpe. It is 11:05 a.m. and this is the first appearance on here on Thanksgiving, November 28th of 2024. Again, my name is Judge Marcus Thorpe. If you all have trouble hearing me as we go through this proceeding, ladies and gentlemen, please let me know so that I can make sure that you get all of the information that you need to this morning, because this is very important. Let me say first, ma'am, ladies and gentlemen, this is being recorded. And so please be careful about what you say here this morning, because of course, this can be used against you at any time during the course of your case. I am not here to take a plea, and I am not here to discuss any defense that you may have in your case. What I am here for is to advise you of what you've been arrested for, and then also to advise you what your bond is, and to schedule any preliminary hearings that I can, along with providing you with an attorney if you qualify. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me again say you have the right to remain silent. In addition to the right to remain silent, you have the right to a presumption of innocence, the right to indictment by grand jury for a felony or by accusation for misdemeanors. You have the right to a speedy and public trial by jury, or to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your own behalf, or to testify if you would like to. You have the right to hear and question witnesses who are called to testify against you. And then lastly, you have the right to an attorney to represent you. And if you can't afford one, I will determine if you will qualify for one free of charge. And then also, if any of you are not citizens of the United States, please, after today's hearing, I would strongly suggest that you consider speaking with an immigration attorney, as there may be effects that today's hearing could have on your status. Now, as I said, excuse me, in addition to advising each of you of what you've been charged with, the second thing we're going to do is talk about bond. And bond is an amount that you pay to the sheriff's office that will allow you to be released, of course, while your case is pending. There are three ways to make bond. You can either make bond in cash, commercial, or property. Cash would be where you, again, post a particular amount, you give that to the sheriff plus any fees, and they hold that money until such time as your case is resolved or closed. Now, when it's closed, you get the money back. The second way is called a commercial bond, or use of a bonding company. A bonding company only requires you pay 15%, so when you don't have the full amount, but you don't get the money back. So in my same example, if you're charged with battery, family violence, and I tell you your bond is $6,000, you'd only be responsible for $750, but you don't get that back. And then finally, the last way to make bond would be the use of a property bond. And that would be where either you or someone you know owns a property that is worth 3 times the amount of your bond. So if your bond is $6,000, they would have to have equity in the home of at least $18,000 for you to be able to use their property. Now, in addition to telling you what you've been charged with and telling you what you're bond with, there are a great number of you who have special conditions on your bond. What that means when I say special condition, that I may tell you that you are to have no contact with someone, or that you are not to go places while your case is pending. If the place I tell you to go, not to go, excuse me, is a place that you were living before this case happened, please understand you are not to go under any circumstances to that address unless it was a place you were living and you have just been released, and within 10 days of your release, you contact the sheriff and the sheriff will escort you there to get anything that belongs to you. That is the only circumstance. If you fail to abide by that or any other conditions here that I'll give you today, you could be subject to additional felony charges, up to 20 years in prison and $20,000 in fines. Now, when I say that some of you are to have no contact, again, as I said, that means do not contact the person in any way. Don't email them, don't write them, don't text them, don't even do something as nice as write them a song. And the same thing goes if I tell you not to return. As I told you, please don't return, because that could be a violation of your bond. Now, once we've talked about what you've been charged with, we've talked about your bond, we've talked about any special conditions. The last thing that I'm going to talk to you all about today, for those of you all charged with a misdemeanor, are what are called a preliminary hearing. A preliminary hearing is not your trial, but it is a hearing where you are present, the police are present, and a judge like myself are present, and we go over the evidence against you to determine if there's enough evidence for your case to go to the prosecutor. So those of you charged with misdemeanors, I will ask you, do you want your preliminary hearing? And if you do, I will give it to you. You only get it if you don't make bond and you're still in custody. If you tell me, Judge, I don't want that hearing, I just want my case to move along quicker, then we can bypass that hearing. We can skip it, and I can send it on up to the prosecutor immediately. And so I'll ask again, do you want the hearing or do you not? For those of you charged with felonies, you automatically get that hearing regardless. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, if I could have everybody please raise their right hand. Do you all swear or affirm that the testimony you are going to give this morning and the information that you have provided here via the court-appointed counsel information is the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? And if it is, please say I do.
I see what you're talking about.
All right. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you all.
I do.
Okay, great. All right, Deputy, if you want to go ahead and we'll start with those folks on Scott. Give me 1 second. It logged me out.
Spell, you up first.
Yep, should be Ms. Bell. Okay. Are you Ms. Bell? Yes, ma'am. Ms. Bell, you are charged with 1 count of possession of less than 1 ounce of marijuana. You're also charged here with misdemeanor theft by shoplifting. I've reviewed the information here this morning, ma'am. I am going to release you this morning. Now, ma'am, that does not mean that your case is over. Let me say that. It does not mean your case is over. It just means you're going home today. So when you are released later today, please make sure that whatever address we have is the best known address, because you're going to get your new court date in the mail. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Now, the only special condition that you're going to have, this was alleged to have been a crime committed at the Walmart there on Anvil Block Road. You are not to return there while your case is open, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Come
You
here.
too.
You gotta sign everything. You just
All right. Next up I have is Miss Shania Hawkins. And then after that, I have Hunt, Parker, and Ray. Are you Miss Hawkins?
Yes.
Ms. Hawkins, you are charged with 1 count of simple battery family violence,
Yes.
1 count of simple assault family violence. Those are both misdemeanors, ma'am. So you have your right to a preliminary hearing, or you can waive that right. Which would you like to do?
I'm not sure which one I'm supposed to do.
Well, again,
I've never been to jail, so I don't know. Which one best?
So again, ma'am, because you were charged with misdemeanors, again, you have the right to this hearing. You don't have to have it if you don't want to, but it's a hearing where you're present, your attorney, and the judge to review the evidence against you and determine if there's enough evidence. If there's not enough evidence, they'll dismiss your case. Doesn't mean it can't come back later, but they'll dismiss it for the time being. Or I can skip that and we can just keep moving and your case will go directly to the prosecutor and it'll move a little quicker. So my first question is to you, knowing what you're charged with, would you like to have that hearing to review the evidence or waive your hearing?
Yeah, I want to have it.
All right, ma'am. So because you're charged with misdemeanors, if you don't make your bond by this court date, your next court date will be December 31st at 8:30 a.m. and that's going to be via Zoom. Again, that'll be December 31st, 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Now, your bond amount for the simple battery is $2,500. For the simple assault, it's $2,500 as well, for a total of $5,000. You do have special conditions, and they are to stay away from Antavius Jones and the address of 1272 Lori Ann Way. And so, ma'am, as I said earlier, if that is somewhere that you were living prior to this happening, then as I said, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to make sure that after this, at the point that you're released, as I spoke about earlier, that you only go to that address if you are released and if you are accompanied by the sheriff. Do you understand that?
Yes, but I got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What if Antavius don't live there?
So as I'm going to give you a court-appointed attorney here this morning. And so when I give you that attorney here, ma'am, you'll be able to speak with them and let them know, hey, this person isn't living there. And then they can discuss with you what that means and get your bond modified. But as of right now, until that happens, you are not allowed at that address.
Okay.
All right. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Next. The sign sequence on the screen, right?
Give me 1 second. I'm finishing hers now. Are you Miss Hunt?
No, I'm Miss Jackson.
Ms. Hunt first.
Yep, Miss Jackson was off Jots. I'm doing the on Jots. Hunt, Parker, and Ray should be up.
I'm Hunt.
Okay. All right, give me 1 second, Miss Hunt. I'm sorry. So we've got misdemeanors. All right, so Ms. Hunt, you were charged here with 1 count of battery family violence, 1 count of criminal trespass, 1 count of cruelty to children, and 2 counts of cruelty to children in the third, and 1 count of aggravated assault as a felony, ma'am. So you do have a felony charge here. And so because of that, ma'am, if you don't make the bond that I'm going to give you here this morning, your next court date is going to be December 31st at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom. Again, that's December 31st. 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Now, your bond amount, ma'am, is going to be for the battery, $3,500, the trespass, $2,500, both cruelties, $2,500 apiece, and the aggravated assault, $15,000, for a total bond of $26,000. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Gosh, that's a lot, yeah.
You do have special conditions, ma'am, and those are to stay away from Dontavius Stewart and the address of 8814 Dorsey Road. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes.
Now, based on the information this morning that you provided, ma'am, I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer. You will have a lawyer free of charge to assist you on your case, Ms. Hunt. Good luck to you. All right, next up should be Parker and Ray, and then we'll be off Jots with the females. Ms. Parker, you are charged with 1 count of reckless conduct, ma'am. That is a misdemeanor. So you have a right to that preliminary hearing that I spoke of earlier, or you can waive that right, ma'am. Which would you like to do? Have it or waive it? Ms. Parker?
Oh, my bad, wait,
Okay. I am going to show Ms. Parker that you are asking that we waive your preliminary hearing this morning. And so once you are done with me here this morning, the deputies will have a piece of paper there for you to sign, okay? Now, based on the information that you provided to me this morning, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to appoint you a court-appointed lawyer here this morning, okay? Do you understand that, ma'am?
yes, sir.
Okay, now as to your bond amount, ma'am, this reckless conduct, if your bond is going to be $3,500. You do have special conditions, ma'am, and those are going to be to stay away from a Jaden Parker, as well as a address of 2626 West Meyer Drive, okay? Can you hear me, Ms. Parker?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me, ma'am?
You said I got a bill bond, right?
Your bond is $3,500.
All right.
All right, anything else I can answer for you, ma'am? All right, good luck to you, ma'am.
I'll write it over here so she can step up to the screen. Huh, you just want to sign on the screen for me?
You gonna sign everything?
You Parker, correct?
All right, and are you Miss Ray?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Ray, you are charged with 1 count of misdemeanor, simple battery, family violence. Again, that is a misdemeanor. So you have a right to a preliminary hearing, ma'am, or you can waive that right to that hearing. Would you like to have that hearing or waive it?
So if I have the hearing and then if I got the bond, but if I have the hearing
Mm-hmm.
and I don't understand what the hearing will do, so I'm just going to wait.
So the hearing, let me explain to you first. The hearing allows the judge to review the evidence. I'm sorry?
Okay, I'm not gonna wait.
So you want the hearing?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. So again, this will only happen if you don't make your bond. Your hearing date, ma'am, will be December 31st. It'll be at 8:30 a.m. and that'll be via Zoom. Again, that's December 31st.
Yeah, because there's no evidence. I didn't do anything.
Okay, ma'am. Remember, we can't talk about that on this. This is being recorded. Now, after your bond, ma'am, the simple battery family violence, your bond amount is $3,000. You do have special conditions, and they are to stay away from Paige Young and from the address of 6655 Mount Zion Road, ma'am. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, do you have any questions, ma'am?
Happy holiday.
All right, ma'am, same to you.
Thank you.
Sign right here for me.
All right, so it should be off Jot's female. I have Jackson, and I believe that's it, just Miss Jackson.
Jackson.
Yeah.
All right, are you Miss Jackson?
Hi, I hear you.
Okay, Miss Jackson, you are charged with 1 count of criminal trespass, family violence, ma'am. That is a misdemeanor, which means that you have a right to a preliminary hearing, or you can waive that hearing, ma'am. Would you like to have your hearing or waive that hearing?
I like to waive it.
All right, ma'am, so I am gonna show that you are requesting that we waive your preliminary hearing this morning. And so once we are done, you and I, the deputies will have a piece of paper for you to sign, okay?
All right, I'm sorry, could you explain that to me one more time?
So the preliminary hearing is simply just a hearing where you're present, the judge is present, as well as your lawyer to review the evidence against you, to determine if there's enough evidence for your case to move forward to the prosecutor, or we can skip that stage altogether, which simply means that we'll send your case a little faster because it'll go directly to the prosecutor, who will review it there.
Okay, yeah, I like to waive it.
Okay, so let me tell you, Ms. Jackson, you're charged again with the 1 count of criminal trespass. That is a misdemeanor. You have waived your preliminary hearing. I am going to give you an attorney free of charge. Your bond amount here this morning, ma'am, is going to be $2,500. You do have a special condition as well, ma'am, and that's going to be to stay away from 8104 Webb Road. Okay, again, that's 8104 Webb Road. Do you understand that? Ma'am?
I say yes.
All right. Do you have any questions of me about anything?
No, no questions at all.
All right, ma'am. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You waived your preliminary hearing?
Yes.
Yes.
Fellas,
Men on Jot should be Bodie, Kane, and Caldwell.
Bodie, Kane, and Coswell.
First 3 up. Let's go.
You Bodie? I can't come on to the page.
I'm right here. First thing I can say that. Boo. They go there.
All right. Are you Mr. Bodie?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, Mr. Bodie, you were charged here with the felony 1 count of criminal damage to property in the 2nd degree. Your bond amount, sir, is $3,500. You were to stay away from the address of 7112 Brookview Way. So as I said earlier, sir, if that is somewhere that you were living previous to this incident happening, allegedly, please make sure that you, if you make bond, that you get with the sheriff's office within 10 days of your release to go there and pick up any items that you need. Do you understand that?
Sure.
All right, sir. And as to your next court date, if you don't make your bond, your next court date is going to be on December 30th, 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom, sir. Good luck to you.
Oh, sound right here for me. Next man up.
All right.
Hey, Bodie.
Sound right here for me.
All right. Are you Mr. Kane?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Kane, you were charged with 1 count of felony cruelty to children. As I said, that is a felony, and so that means you are going to have a preliminary hearing if you don't make your bond. As to your bond, sir, you are on a no bond status. From what I am showing here, you're currently on you're currently on probation out of Fulton County. And so as a result of that, I am not legally allowed to give you or even review your bond unless and until they've had a chance to determine if Fulton County wants to revoke any of the time that you have left. Now, sir, if at any point you are given bond, you are to stay away from Xavion Kane and from 5420 Riverdale Road. So as I told the gentleman before you, if that is somewhere that you were living previous to this incident happening, please understand that you must, upon your release, get with the sheriff's office and make sure that they escort you there, any items that belong to you. Do you understand that, Mr. Kane?
Yes, sir. So I'm trying to see, I have no bond today.
Yes, sir. Under Georgia law, I can't give you a bond because it looks to be that you're on probation right now.
Got in Fulton County, but I just talked to my probation officer.
Don't talk about that. You don't want to talk about that online. Tell that to your attorney, okay?
In my next court date.
It's going to be December 30th. It's going to be December 30th for your preliminary hearing, and then your bond hearing date is going to be January 10th. I didn't tell you that, okay? Did you hear me there?
He heard you. Come on, stand over here. Next man, step up.
Hardware, right?
Stand right here on the screen for me.
All right, and after Mr. Caldwell are Mr. Ellerby, Finney, and Kirkpatrick. Ellerby, Finney, and Kirkpatrick.
You good.
All right.
Six.
And is it Mr. Caldwell?
Yeah.
Mr. Caldwell, you are charged with misdemeanors, 1 count of criminal trespass, 1 count of battery, family violence, sir. Based on the information you've told us, I am going to give you a court-appointed lawyer here this morning free of charge. Now, because these are misdemeanors, sir, you have the right to that preliminary hearing that I mentioned earlier, or you can waive that preliminary hearing. Would you like to have your hearing or waive it? Do you know what you want to do, Mr. Caldwell? So here's what I'll do, Mr. Caldwell. I'll go ahead. I'm going to set that preliminary hearing court date for you. It's going to be 12/31/2024 at 8:30 a.m. That's going to be via Zoom. If you make bond, sir, that hearing date, of course, will go away, as I mentioned earlier. Now, the last thing that I need to do here is to tell you what your bond is, sir. Your bond for these misdemeanor charges are as follows. The criminal trespass, you have a bond of $1,500. The battery, family violence, you have a bond of $3,500 for a total bond of $5,000. You also, sir, do have special conditions. You are to stay away from Mr. Dondre Fish, F-I-S-H, and you are also to stay away from 1103 Bradford Drive. Do you understand that? All right, good luck to you, sir.
Hey, sound right here from John.
All right, should be Ellerby, Finney, and Kirkpatrick. Are you Mr. Ellerby?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Ellerby, so you've got cases here we're going to go over. The first one is 2024 CW 71460. This is a more recent charge, misdemeanor battery, family violence. Because that is a misdemeanor, sir, you have a right to that preliminary hearing, or you can waive the hearing. The allegation is that you struck recently a female by the name of Alexis Brooks at 2738 Peggy Sue Lane. Would you like to have your hearing, sir, or would you like to waive your right to your hearing? You want me to go over what it is again?
Yeah, but Alexis Brooks is a man.
Okay, my apologies. So let me say this. Your preliminary hearing is a hearing where you are present, the judge is present, and the police officer is present who are alleging that you committed a crime. Now, what happens during that hearing is they go over the evidence that they have against you, and the judge will determine if there is enough evidence such that your case will continue forward to the prosecutor. So because you're charged with a misdemeanor, you don't automatically get the hearing. You can just say, Judge, I want the hearing, and then I'll set it for you. So if you don't make your bond, you get it. Or I will waive that hearing, and we will move your case a little bit faster, and it will go directly to the prosecutor's office. Okay? So which would you like to do? Would you like to have that hearing or waive that hearing?
Okay, so if it goes to the prosecutor, everything's gonna be basically done today.
No, not done today. Remember what I said earlier, this is not your trial, but it'll move a little quicker. It's still going to take a few months before anything happens, but no, sir. This is just me telling you what you're charged with.
Okay, I'll take the hearing.
All right, so if you don't make your bond, sir, your next court date is going to be December 31st at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Again, that's December 31st. That's going to be at 8:30 a.m. and that's going to be via Zoom. Now, as to your bond on this case, your bond is going to be $5,000, sir. You do have special conditions. They are to stay, as I said, from Alexis Brooks and from the address of 2738 Peggy Sue Lane. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes.
All right, so that's the first case. The second case, very similar, has you on a charge here as well for having assaulted this same person, the Alexis Brooks. This is warrant number 2024 CW. I'm gonna give you the 7690. It's alleging that you all were involved in an assault back in, I believe it was July of 2024. Since we've already talked about the preliminary hearing, I'll go ahead. I'm gonna set the same on that one for your case to run together. So it'll be the same. December 31st, 8:30 a.m. via Zoom if you don't make bond. Now your bond amount on that case is $10,000. So it's $5,000 on the first, $10,000 on the second. I am giving you a lawyer for both cases, so you'll have the same lawyer helping you on both. And your special condition will be the same, to stay away from Peggy Sue Lane and from Alexis Brooks. Do you understand that, sir?
If I got this through the bonds people, about how much would that be?
On the first one, that's 5,000, you're looking at about 650. And on the second one, that's 10,000, you are looking at about 12 to 1,300. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Next up should be Finney, Kirkpatrick, and Moore. Good luck to you, sir.
They signed right there. You got two documents.
Are you Mr. Finney?
Yes, I am.
Mr. Finney, you are charged with misdemeanors, 1 count of criminal trespass, 1 count of possession of less than 1 ounce of marijuana. Sir, based on the information that I have here this morning, I am going to go ahead and release you this morning. So you will be released later today. Do you understand that, sir?
So no, I don't need a bond.
No, sir. They're going to release you. You're not going to need it. Now, let me say this though, Mr. Feeney. It doesn't mean that your case is over. So please make sure that when you are released, whatever your best known address is, that the sheriff's office has it, because that's where they're going to send your next court date. Okay.
All right.
All right, sir. The deputy is going to have a piece of paper to sign for you to sign, and once you sign that, that'll be the end of it for you today. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. He waived or?
Yes, sir. Because he is being released today, he's got to sign the waiver.
Got you. Yes, sir.
All right. Are you Mr. Kirkpatrick?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, Mr. Kirkpatrick, you were charged with felony possession of marijuana over an ounce, window tint violation, possession of drug-related objects, which is also a misdemeanor. Now, because you were charged with at least 1 felony, sir, if you don't make the bond that we're going to go over, your next court date is going to be December 30th of 2024 at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom. Again, that's going to be December 30th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Now, as to your bond, sir, the bond for the marijuana is $6,000. The bond for the 2 traffic charges, the window tint, and then the drug-related objects are $500 apiece. So your total bond, sir, is $7,000. Do you understand that?
Yeah, so how much would it be with a bail bond?
You'd be looking at about $850, $900. All right, good luck to you, sir.
No problem.
All right, it should be Moore, Waits, and Walker. Are you Mr. Moore?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Moore, you are charged here with 1 count of failure to maintain lane, 1 count of failure to yield, and 1 count of hit and run, sir. Those are all misdemeanors. So you have a right to that preliminary hearing that we've been talking about, or you can waive that preliminary hearing. Which would you like to do? Have it or waive it, sir?
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to get you to explain it again. I'm not really
So
understanding.
the preliminary hearing is a hearing where you're present, the judge and your attorney, to review the evidence against you. It's not your trial, but it's to determine if the police have enough evidence for your case to move forward. If the judge says they do not, your case is dismissed. Doesn't mean it won't ever come back, but it's dismissed for the time being. Or you can tell me, Judge, I don't need that hearing. I want this case to move a little faster. Let's go ahead and let's send it directly to the prosecutor for them to determine what's going to happen with my case. So here's what I'll do. You may make your bond, sir, but let me go ahead and set that hearing date for you. And then ultimately, if you make bond, you won't have it anyhow. So your next court date, should you end up still being in custody, will be December 31st at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be via Zoom. Again, that's December 31st, 8:30 a.m. And that's via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now I'm going to give you your bond amounts here on these charges. As it relates to the first charge, the failure to maintain lane, your bond amount is going to be $500. As it relates to the second, the failure to yield, your bond amount, again, there is $500. And then lastly, as to the hit and run, your bond amount is $1,000. And so that gives you a total bond, sir, of $2,000. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions about, I'm sorry?
A bail bondsman, how much would it be?
You'd probably be looking at about $1,250.
$1,250?
Yes, sir. Oh, I'm sorry. Your bond is $2,000, so you'd be looking at about $250, $300. Excuse me.
53. Okay.
Yep. All right.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Yes, sir. Good luck to you. All right. Next up, I've got Mr. Waits and then Walker. Are you Mr. Waits? Is that correct, Mr. Waits?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Waits, you are charged with one count of driving without a license, one count of driving without headlights. You are also charged with felony fleeing. You are charged with misdemeanor driving with a suspended license. You are charged with driving too fast for conditions here in Clayton County. You are also charged with open container and also misdemeanor hit and run. So those are all misdemeanors, but for the felony fleeing. Now, because of that, sir, however, I believe that that is going to be ultimately a misdemeanor hearing, a misdemeanor fleeing. So I'm going to give you a preliminary hearing date, but your preliminary hearing is going to be with the other misdemeanors. So your next court date, sir, should you not make the bond that I'm going to give you, is going to be December 31st at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Again, that's going to be December 31st, 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Now, as to your bond, the driving without headlights carries a bond of $500. The fleeing, $3,500. The license, $1,500. The too fast for conditions, $500. And the open container is also $500. And so your total bond, sir, is $7,500. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You have a bond of $7,500. Your next court date, should you not make bond, will be December 31st. And I'm also going to give you a lawyer here free of charge this morning to help you on your case, okay?
Yes, sir. I don't want to keep you a broken record, but can I know how much the 10% is 7,500 is?
Yeah, no, it's going to end up 15% will probably be what it ends up being, but you're looking at about 950, between 900 and 1,000.
100,000.
Yep. So if you ended up needing to use a bonding company, yep, between 900 and 1,000.
All right.
All right. Any other questions I can answer for you, sir?
No, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, sir. Good luck to you. And you are Mr. Walker, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Walker, just give me one moment here, please. All right, so Mr. Walker, you are charged here with one count of battery family violence, sir. That is a misdemeanor. And so because it's a misdemeanor, sir, you have a right to the preliminary hearing, or you can waive that right to that hearing. Which would you like to do, sir? Would you like to have that hearing, or would you like to waive your hearing? I'm sorry?
I would like to have it.
All right. So if you don't make your bond, sir, because you are charged with misdemeanors, your next court date would be December 31st at 8:30 a.m. and that would be via Zoom. Again, that would be December 31st, 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that, sir?
Sir.
All right. Now, after your bond amount, sir, your bond amount for a battery family violence is $3,500. You do have special conditions, sir, and those are to stay away from Jelena Guzman, as well as from the address of 805 South Lake Cove. Again, that's Jelena Guzman and 805 South Lake Cove. And so, as I said earlier, sir, if that's somewhere you are living, please, if you make your bond, just let the sheriffs know and they can escort you there so that you can pick up any items that belong to you. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. And I also got a question.
Yes, sir.
Since I gotta stay away from that address, I pay rent there and my son lives there. So how would I be able to see my son just call the police?
I can't figure that out for you, sir. I mean, I'll be honest with you, until your bond is changed or you're released, you probably won't be able to see him. Unless a judge modifies this, I doubt you'll be able to see him.
All right.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you. Oh, wait. How much would 15% be? 3,500?
You're looking at about $500.
500. All right. Thank you, sir.
All right, next up should be, I've got Amorin Zion. Is that you, sir?
Yes, sir. Happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you, sir. You were charged with one count of theft by taking, sir. That is a misdemeanor. Because it's a misdemeanor, sir, you have a right to a preliminary hearing that I spoke of earlier, or you can waive your right to that hearing. Would you like to have your hearing or waive it?
Yeah, please note the defense judge. I'm not 100%.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead. What I'll do, sir, is since I know you're not sure about it, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna set that hearing date for you. It's gonna be December 31st at 8:30 a.m. and that'll be via Zoom. Again, it'll be December 31st at 8:30 a.m. and that'll be via Zoom. But you won't have that hearing if you make the bond that I'm gonna give you shortly. The purpose of that hearing is just for the judge, the police officer to review your case and to determine if there is enough evidence for your case to go forward. So your bond amount, sir, on this kind of a charge is $2,000, and you are to stay away from the Atlanta Hartsfield Airport unless you are there for work or for travel. Do you understand that? So don't go back to that airport unless you're there because you're going somewhere or you work there. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. So what is the 15% or what is it?
15%. If the Bonson company would do it, it'd be about 300, 350.
Thank
All right.
God bless. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Next up should be Marshall. Are you Mr. Marshall?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Marshall, I have that you served in the military. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So what's going to happen, sir? I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put a note here. We have here in what's called Clayton County Veterans Court. So it's likely, sir, that you're going to go through Veterans Court, but I'm still going to tell you what you've been charged with. You've been charged with 1 count of trespass, 1 count of theft by shoplifting. Your bond amount for the trespass is $2,500. For the shoplifting, $1,500, for a total of $4,000. You do have special conditions, sir, and those are to stay away from Hartsfield Airport unless you are there for work or you are there for work or to travel. Do you understand that? Now, if for some reason, sir, you do not, they don't put you in Veterans Court right away, I'm going to set your preliminary hearing date, which will be the next date that you have court until they put you into that program. So your next court date, if you don't make your bond, will be December 31st at 8:30 a.m. And again, that will be via Zoom. Again, that's December 31st, 8:30 a.m. and that's via Zoom. Do you understand that, Mr. Marshall? Do you have any questions, sir?
No, sir.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Next up, I've got Vaughn and Turner. Are you Mr. Vaughn?
Sorry.
I'm sorry?
Yes, sir.
All right, so Mr. Vaughn, you were charged with 1 felony of possession of an illegal substance while in custody. That is a felony, sir. And so because of that, your next court date, should you not make your bond, will be December 30th at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be via Zoom. Again, that's December 30th, 8:30 a.m. and that's via Zoom. Your bond amount for this, sir, is $5,000. Do you understand that?
Sorry, can you repeat that? Because the video was messing up.
I say your bond amount is $5,000. Okay? Did you hear me?
So what would that be? Or through a bond company?
You know, if you use a bonding company, you'd be looking at about $750. Okay? You got me?
Yeah.
All right, sir. That's all I've got for you. Good luck to you.
All right, John, that's everybody.
Okay, Deputy, did they, I take it they didn't advise you anything on Mr. Turner?
Well, I was told that Mr. Turner was in Grady.
Okay, and so they, where that kind of left off was they were supposed to let my chief know, because we're at a point now, we may have to release him. And so they were talking to Chief Hardenett about seeing if somebody could go over there and just have him heard. So we'll go ahead and break, and then I'll just reach out to her. I just may have to get online with them later today then.
Yes, sir.
All right.
No, though, we told our supervisor.
It's a housing too, so it doesn't count as the 48 hours. Yeah, he got it.
Right, I'm aware. All right, thank you.